Special guest has arrived into the studio with us this morning. We have with us the chairwoman of Clayton County Commission. Oh Lord! And we're so happy to have you with us, Dr. Alika Anderson-Henry. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. It's good to see you, Dee. I missed you in Clayton County because you know I wanted you over there with me and the monks, but it's okay. I get to see you this morning.
Listen, and it's my fault too because you know you did tell me to come, and I would have had a good opportunity to see them and walk with them. So let's talk about that for a minute. So the monks, the first county they came to, that was in the metro area was Clayton County.
Yes.
And you had a large showing for the monks there. Talk us through it and walk us through what it was like for you to host them in Clayton County.
Well, Dee, I just want to say it was just when I say a immense, beautiful experience. We only had 2 days to get this together. As we were talking and doing the logistics with the monks, a lot of things they needed to get together, so I had to just put on my governmental cap, my teaching cap, all of my jobs that I've ever done before, and say, hey, we've got to get this together. I have an awesome team. I just want to say a shout out to Chief Roberts, our police chief, and to Chief Tim Sweat, and our Office of Resilience team, which is my boy Fong. We kind of got together and we started talking about, how do we get them from Fayette County to Clayton County? How are we going to get them down the road? Where there's going to be some pivotal stops that we can do with them as they come in, more or less. And we just talked about, everything. I also want to thank Councilwoman Hugh Nguyen, because Hugh is a part of the Vietnamese community, and she actually introduced me to the monks. So as I was coming into office, the monks, I used to go over to the temple and things like that, and the monks would kind of walk me around the temple and say, vote for Alika Anderson-Henry, And so they have been in my life since I've actually come into this position. So again, I just want to thank you to our monks and our temples in Clayton County, because they played a pivotal role to me getting into this seat and just being into the community and bringing peace. But again, the logistics, we kept talking back and forth, when they come in. I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that really concerned me too was one of the monks got hit. And I don't know if it was by a car or a truck, but the main thing is I was like, when they come into Clayton County, they will not be hit. We're going to give them logistics as they enter. One of my security officers was actually trained to be a monk. So as the monks came into the county, if you saw me walking with them, we were talking about logistics, saying, okay, when we get down 138, you all are going to have a big crowd that's going to be coming up at the Little Giants Farmers Market. We want to make sure that we keep people off of you. We want to make sure, things of that nature. So we were planning for that. And then the Morrow Center, I want to thank Mayor Lample again. They had everything set up at the Morrow Center for them. And so we were getting that together and making sure that the Vietnamese community had the food there. Grady Healthcare Systems, when I talk about just stepping in, Dr. Yolanda Waverly from Grady Healthcare Systems just called, and she said, hey, I want to come and help. So it was all hands on deck. And we had 2 days to get this together. We had 2 days to get the route coming into Clayton County as well as the route going to DeKalb County. And I want to say CEO Lorraine Cochran and I, we were even in talks, just making sure. So I think that, that mothering kicked in, after one of the months got hit, I was like, no, when they come to Clayton County, we're going to have every police officer on them. We're going to be talking to them. Logistics is going to be in place. And we're going to make sure that when they come through this county, that they are safe and no one will be getting hit, and they will get the medical care that they needed, as well as the dog Alika. We had a phenomenal vet there. Alika was so sweet, and so we had a phenomenal vet there from Morrow Animal Hospital, Miss Joanne, who's the owner, and so everybody just kicked in. And I think the crowd from Clayton County, it was so big and it was so large because people were excited. I was excited, people were excited, so we wanted to make sure that everybody was able to see them and that the people came out to walk for people.
Co-opted, or it became a political movement, or some people just wanted to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say to that? Like, hearing it from your side, like all of the logistics that was needed to make them, to make it an event that was safe as well as impactful, but then to hear criticism that you all tried to make it political. You, along with other elected officials, were there trying to take all the limelight, and then, how do you respond to that?
So let me tell you something. When we're dealing with people coming into our county, if you're a public official, the first thing you're going to do, if the president has someone that comes from overseas, you're going to meet and you're going to talk about logistics. The walk, as we were walking, there was a point in time where people were trying to give them cases of water. They were trying to give them flowers. They were trying to give them everything. So what we were telling the crowd was, hey, you all can put that. There was a RV that was following them, and we were telling them, hey, you can put that in the RV. As far as it being political, again, when they came into the county, we were sitting there talking to the monks. I introduced them to my security officer, who as a child was trained to be a monk. And I said, hey, I'm going to put him on you the whole time. He's going to walk with you all for safety reasons, because I don't want, the crowds were so big, I don't want people coming up on you. I had my wonderful husband that was there, and he was kind of in the back, and I was just talking to the monks, because again, I've got that relationship, so it's not like I haven't talked to the monks. I even talked to the head monk of our county, and I was like, they're coming. He was like, well, he's like, I'll be over at the Morrow Center. You bring them in. I said, well, can y'all meet us there? Well, he's like, you got it, Dr. Anderson. You just bring them in, and we go from there. So as we were talking and walking, I guess, we kind of start vibing, and everybody was having such a good time and just talking about, I said, hey, my husband is in the back there, y'all. I said, he goes to the gym every morning, and he can't even keep up with y'all because they walk. When they come in, they're walking. So we can't, they're walking fast. So, and I may have walked with them like from down 138 to the Food Giant. Then we got to the Food Giant, a lot of people started coming around, and I was like, hey, we're gonna have to keep walking. And then after that, I think I got to Taylor Road, and I just jumped in my truck and I left. But I never thought that it would be seen as I'm out here trying to do a political move, or we're out here we were just walking and talking them into the county. And then after that, I said, well, look, I'm going over to the Morrow Center. We've got everything set up for you all. We've got an actual doctor over there that's going to check your feet. We've got somebody to check Alika. So we're just talking about things like that, logistics, and telling the people, hey, put everything in the bag. You put everything in the bag, and that's all it was. I didn't see it that way, because again, I'm more focused on logistics and making sure they're safe, making sure we get them to the Morrow Center to give them their proclamations and things of that nature. I think what someone did was someone vehemently put it out like that, but it really wasn't like that. Again, I have a relationship with monks. I deal with Hindus in our county. I deal with everybody. I am the chairwoman for everybody. So I'm going to be talking. You're going to see me talking. If President Trump or anybody else comes into my county, I'm going to greet them. And other chairwomen walk with them as well. But I think it was just an attack on me. And it's okay, because again, I'm fighting for our county. And one thing I'm going to just tell you that I told them, I said, listen, I need you all praying for this county. I'm in this county, and I want to grow my county. I want to grow our county. And I said, we have about, I gave me some statistics about our poverty rate and things like that in Clayton County, because Clayton County has about a 16.8% poverty rate, as well as 72,000 SNAP recipients are in our county. That's a big number. Out of 300,000, that's about 1/4 of our population. And I was just telling them things such as that. Pray for us, because I've got a big task ahead of me as a chairwoman, because I don't ever want it to look like gentrification. I want to make sure that everyone in Clayton County is working, is eating, and providing jobs and things like that. So I was just talking about, pray for me as I try to provide these opportunities for workforce development and changing, the plight in the poverty in our county, bringing everybody up to a livable wage income throughout the county, And then I just told myself, I got about 30,000, 28,000 people in my county that need GEDs. Now, this was based on the last census. It may have changed, because, our income level has gone up to about $50,000, which is good. But again, it could be better.